we'll deal with that later. Right now, it's 115, but you guys get it. And my celly was out of pocket because I give him permission to get the phone and use the phone. And welcome back. He got my phone, so my family got money to replace that phone. And he just gave me this view. He's giving me too much information. That's none of my business. And I'm gonna tell you one thing about Southside. This incident right here blew my mind because I've been doing a lot of time and I've never seen Southside. Welcome back to Prison Yard TV. This is episode 3 of, let's see here, prison game, penitentiary games. This is episode 3. Like I told you before, I'll probably be doing a 10-part series on penitentiary games in California. So if you already haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. What does that say? If you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button, and definitely hit that notification button so you can see when our next video is coming. So let me start where I left off at. So as we went back from the day room into the cell, I was telling my cellie, man, you know, I don't want to be in the mix with these cats, man. And I was kind of upset over it because I had a lot to lose. I had 2 phones, tobacco, Christina Aguilera, and Carga. If you guys don't know what any of that means you ain't never been in the streets. If you ain't been in the streets, I suggest you don't go to the streets to find out. However, me and my cellie had a discussion. While we're discussing this, now when you get a RVR at 115 in prison, I think they have 24 to 48 hours to serve you with it. What happens is someone comes and gives you your 115. Then you could refuse to sign, or you could cooperate and sign and say you acknowledge them serving you this 115. It's basically paperwork saying that you are being rolled up and it's official. So me and my cellie's in there talking. Now, mind you, this just happened. Police just came in the cell that day and found the phone and the charger. And I'm expecting a 115 to be slid up under the door and my door open and for me to sign. This particular police had a reputation when he found something in the cell to write up both cellies. If you're in the cell with someone, he'd write both cellies up, and one, of course, would end up being found guilty of the 115, depending on how the hearing went. So while we're sitting there talking about the number 2 getting to me wanting to see my 115, which on the 115, usually, I wish I would have brought some to the studio. I got, I think, 4 to 5 115s that I got caught with phones in my TV. I had a phone in my TV before. I had I forgot what type, it was a flat screen, and all the TVs in there that they sell now are clear. You can see through it. And what I mean by that, you can see the wiring in it and everything. Well, I had a TV with a CD player in it. And what I did was I paid this, we call them nerds. And nerds in prison, they really make the prison generate. They help you get by because nerds will find different spots. They'll make different compartments and different items to hide your contraband. And I paid this nerd $100 to gut my CD player out because the CD player is metal and it's in the TV and you can't see through that metal. So he gutted all the guts out, and I used to put my backup phone in my TV, and I got caught with that when I was at Vacaville. They found it in R&R, handed me my shit. So I got several write-ups with getting caught with phones. So I was known at all the institutions to having phones. And now that I'm kind of new here, now they know because they found a phone in my cell, they're going to probably think it's mine because little man never got caught with the phone. All of his write-ups were violence. So as we're sitting there talking, the door opens. Bam. A female CO comes, not the Russian CO that got the phone. She comes and she's like, calls my last name, gives me the 115. I refuse to sign it. Calls my cellie. He goes over there. He gets his 115. He refuses to sign it. We reading over the 115, and basically we're guilty. Um, they didn't make no. Sometimes you'll get an officer that's in a hurry and he's not real thorough, and he'll write a 115 and he'll make mistakes, and you could beat it on technicalities. This CO was very thorough, was by the book. The only thing he made a mistake doing was when he got to work. Remember, I told you he walked in the building to scan the building to see whose door was open and who was out in the day room. He didn't call for another officer to come and stand by the door or help him search the cell. He went in there by himself. This was during shift change. He just got there. So he did make a mistake by that, but we couldn't get not found guilty on that technicality alone. So as we're discussing this, and I'm looking at the 115, the 115 is looking at me, and I'm looking at Marcelli, he's looking at me, and we're discussing this, I'm getting more heated because I see it's a division D. It was a C? No. So division F is the most less. Let me put it like this: a division A 115, it goes from A, B, C, D, E, F. So a division A 115 is for murder, um, assault with a deadly weapon on a correction officer or employee, and then division B is assault with a deadly weapon or attempted murder on a convict or inmate, and it goes down to C, D, E, F, and F would be like gambling or caught with tobacco or something like that. That would be a 30-day write-up, loss of time. However, division E and F, if you're clean for 60 days or 90 days or 6 months, you could get your time back that you lost on your 115. Anything above, I believe, D or C, you can't get your time back, especially for phones. Now, once they took the 6 months, good time, when you get caught with the phone, now you don't get that back. They're trying to stop cell phones in prison. So anyway, I'm getting mad looking at this 115 because I believe it was a division D or C, and I knew I couldn't get the 6 months back. So that's another 6 months I would have to do. And of course, I'm doing 80%. So I'd probably do 5 months on that, or 5.5 months. And it's like every time I get close to going home, I get a 115 for something that I can't get my time back. So I told you before, my cellie had mentioned, he's like, man, that was my bad. I should have listened to you. And I'm taking care of this cat. I was taking care of little man. His shelves were fat. He had all the food, all the hygiene. He could smoke as much weed as he wants. He has access to the phone whenever he wants. So he he did what any man would do if your cellie's taking care of you like that. Not like little man. Little man was cool, and he ended up being a rider. That's another story I'll tell you guys about how he ended up going to the hole, and I was a little part of that, and that's how I ended up moving Tiny Pook in the cell with me. So anyway, we're looking at these 115s, and my 115 and his 115 is basically the exact same 115. However, he made it specific that he found the phone and the charger on the lower bunk, which belongs to who other than me. So the only way that I could beat this 115 is if little man, we go in the 115 hearing, and usually they don't hear 115 hearings, two convicts at a time. They hear one and then call the other one in and then hear his. And then they find you guilty or innocent. It is 99.9% they find one of you guilty. So this was the plan. This is the plan we put in to effect. Um, So I told him, I said, look, man, he was like, I'll take the write up, dog. I'll tell him it was my phone, that you was over there at Cuckoo Cell cleaning it. And I had the door open. I was sitting right in front of it, and it was my phone. And I was using your bunk to charge it because the extension cord wouldn't reach to my bunk. And plus, there's a towel blocking it. So that's a wrap. He said he was taking it. I appreciate it. However, we had to make sure that he got called into his 115 first, because if he got called in there and he pled guilty to it, then they dismissed mine when I got in there. However, if I went in first, he would probably find me guilty, because I couldn't go in the 115 here and saying that ain't my phone. That was little man's phone. You can't do that. That's telling. And I wasn't willing to do that. So we was planning this all out, and we went to sleep. Next day comes by. First yard, well, they do work and release call. First after breakfast, right after breakfast. Now I don't go to breakfast. I don't go to chow at all in the morning time. Not to get my lunch, not to go to chow at all. The first thing that happens when they release chow is the cat, the cat that my cellie was close to, that I started getting close to, and we both started getting close to, that got me in this predicament. He comes down to the cell, and I see he's got some physicality going on. And what I mean by that is he's kind of bruised up and lumped up a little bit. He got his shades on in the day room, getting ready to go to chow. You don't wear shades in the day room or going to chow in the morning time like that. There's no sun out that bright. So I figured he got touched up, probably during day room the night before someone took him in the cell. It was none of my business. I didn't want to know. I didn't give a damn. But however, if you remember correctly, he's in the cell with the number two. And the number two told me, I don't know why he told me, that his cellie was going to get whacked because he broke code by taking his phone and letting us use it, as he told him. Now, I never confirmed or denied to the number two anything what his cellie was telling him. I never told him that he let us use the phone or he didn't let it. I just kept it basic, and I just nodded my head and answered basic questions. I didn't give him too much of elaborate response to any of his questions. So I let it linger. So I got the 115 in the cell already. They don't know it yet. So I'm holding that, and I'm not telling them about the 115 yet because I'm still trying to figure out how this is going to go. How can we get over this hump in this situation without any more heat coming to my car? And you got to figure, let me see, 2016, let me see, 2000. I was in my 40s, um, and I was probably the oldest NC in my car on the yard. So I basically had the most experience, and I had the sack. I had the bag. So if anyone been to any prison throughout the United States, if you have the bag, you basically have the yard. And I don't mean every group, and I'm not justifying or I'm not glamorizing me doing what I did in prison because it's nothing to glamorize. I was surviving, and I used my street skills to survive in the penitentiary. Even though penitentiary rules and street rules is totally different, I always had a hustle bone in my body. My mom told me from a long time ago, I always had to be doing something. I always had to make money somehow. So that's what I did in prison. It's nothing to glamorize. But anyway, so I basically had my car, and I don't want to say I was the shot caller or none of that. I don't want to use that language in my shows, but they all listened to me. I've been around a long time. I had an E number. If anyone knows about California prison, the E number you get in 1989. That's a long time I've been around going to California prison system. It's nothing to be proud of. So they listened to me. Plus, I had the bag. I was feeding them. I was helping them get shit on their shelf. I was helping them, letting them use my phone, all type of shit. So I had a lot of respect in Lancaster, in every prison I've been to, except the last one. That's another story. I think I already told it. The CMC when they jumped me. Matter of fact, I did. I had Frost on here. He was one of the ones that jumped me. He was out of Merced, and I had him on here. I interviewed him. If you haven't already seen that story, go back and see Frost's interview where I interviewed him on why they jumped me. I want you to check that. I need to do another interview with him because the audio on that ain't real well. I'm going to see if he's willing to come on here again and give you guys the story of why they jumped me, what excuse they had, and who sent them to do that. Anyways, let's get back to the story. So, dude comes to the cell in the morning time, and you know, like I told you guys before, Southsiders and whites, they don't really conduct business with blacks, period, especially Crips. We're known to be grimy in there. Crips are like, got a bad reputation in California prison system because we're very deep and there's so many cars. And once one Crip does something to another faction, the whole institution thinks all Crips are together, and that's their reputation. And that's just not the case, but that's how everyone looks at it. So dude comes to my door breakfast time. Hey dog, let me holler at you. And it's the voice, it's the tone of the voice. The tone of the voice tells you everything you need to know about a conversation or how the conversation is going to go. And the tone of his voice was shaky. He was adamant. He was very animated, um, very on his toes, like wide awake. Dog, let me holler at you. Hey, man, come to the door. Let me holler. And he was very hyper. So, man, I did not even want to talk to this dude. First of all, his celly told me he was going to get whacked. Um, I knew that, and I don't like looking in a man's eyes and knowing something that's gonna happen to him. I'm good at it, but I don't like doing that. I feel like it's betrayal. Even though this dude's from the other side and he put me in a position, I don't like seeing people get whacked in prison, man. Especially how the Southsiders do it. They're dangerous, and they when they come to whack you, they're coming to whack you for. They're trying to take you out, and this was one of them occasions where they could justify whacking this dude, seriously whacking this dude. And I knew that. He snuck behind the celly's back and he basically got his phone took his phone when he wouldn't shouldn't have been even had his hands on it. So he comes to the cell. He's like, man, walk the child with me. Bro, I'm not walking the child with you. Talk to me right here. Now, mind you, like I said, I'm one cell away from the shower, and I got a brother from the bay, a bay cell next to me on this side, and I got whites on the other side of me. Whites and Southsiders are in cahoots with each other. So everything he says, you could believe the whites are at their door listening. They're gonna go back and tell their partners. They're gonna go back and tell dude's partners about the conversation. I tell dude, man, cut this conversation. I don't want to. Man, I need to know what you told my cellular if you told him anything, man, so I know what my next move is. I told you, little man worked in the kitchen at night. He don't come home till 9, so I'm in the cell by myself. I tell dude, man, look, man, holler at my celly. I don't want no parts of this. I'm trying to wiggle up out this situation. Now, I don't want my cell hit. And I tell him, man, holler at my celly, man. I'm not in the, none of this riffraff that's going on, man. I try to do you a favor. That was it. And this is what happened. I don't even want to talk about it no more. He's like, let me ask you this. Did they ask you for the 115? What am I supposed to say to that? I'm knowing his celly probably told him I'm waiting for the 115 to verify that it was my phone because there's usually pictures of the phone in there. And so basically, the number two, his celly, was trying to find out if his celly was trying to work him for the phone because my cell got he could say that it was that phone and try to take his phone and sell it or whatnot, trade it for drugs, give me the phone. And he was trying to figure that out. That wasn't the case though, but they still had their suspicions that maybe this dude just took the phone. It happened that my cell got hit, a phone got took. So they're trying to figure out if their phone really got took out of my cell, which it did. So I tell them I don't want to talk about it. So everyone goes to chow, they come back, and I never had a job in Lancaster, so I'm always in the cell or in the day room playing cards, or I go to yard, like I said, maybe once a week. So as I'm sitting there writing, my phones are up. Now I'm paranoid because I don't know if they're coming again. So I'm sitting there, both my phones are up. I'm smoking. Now, mind you, I smoke. You guys see, I smoke. I smoke a lot, and I had enough tobacco in there to smoke as I pleased. Um, so I'm waiting. I got all my contraband in someone else's cell. I got rid of everything except my personal phone, which I don't have a charger to now, but it's put up. So I'm sitting in the cell, and here comes little man home from work, and he's shaking his head. I'm like, "What's up? What's up, cuz? What's going on?" He's like, "Man, old boy upstairs." I still don't want to say his name, man. He's like, "Man, old boy was waiting for me to come through the rotunda, and he came and got at me and was like, man, he thinks that his folks is gonna whack him." I'm like, shit, he got a good concept of how the penitentiary works, and he should expect that. He's like, yeah, man, and they are justified, man, but that shit might come back to us. And I'm like, look, bro, this is what we gonna do. What we gonna do is you gonna take them your 115, let them call them over to the cell, let them read your 150. I don't want to talk to these cats anymore. I don't have nothing to say to them. I just want my charger. They got to replace the charger. Somebody got to replace my charger. And we're already in the hole because we lost the charger, and one of us got to lose 6 months. It wasn't shit to him because he had a gang of time left. Plus, he just got out the hole like 2 years before that for assault on staff. And once you have assault on staff in this California prison system, police hate you. Any chance they get, they're gonna try to get their get back. And so little man knew this. So anyway, I tell him, look, man, when they come, holler at them, let them see the 115, tell them we need our charger replaced, and that's it. We ain't got nothing else to say. We ain't trying to go to war with these cats over this situation, which they could have been. They could have protested their folks to really mm, politic. They could have politicked against us because they know that I know because I'm older, we don't supposed to be messing with them. And that's their rules, not ours. We could sell dope to them. Crips, Bloods, Coombies, Johns, we could sell dope to the Southsiders and the white boys. But on certain yards, they can't do business with us. And this was one of them yards. It's a level 4, 270 design. So I told little man what we're gonna do. That day, I think it was 12 o'clock yard release. I decided to go to the yard for my weekly check-in. Plus, I wanted to see what's going on the yard. See, you could tell by people's stature, by the quietness on the yard. You could cut when there's something about to go down, tension, you could cut tension with a butter knife on a prison yard, a level 4 yard. You know it's going down. Usually when a certain faction is about to take care of their business, and what I mean by that is remove somebody. If you don't know what remove is, a removal, you've never been to prison. If you've never been to prison, I suggest you do not go to find out. I'm gonna tell you what a removal is, though. A removal is somebody messed up so drastically they got to be removed and put in the hole. They got to be taken to the hole, and usually it's 2 or 3 on 1 with a weapon. Matter of fact, on level 4 yards, there is no hands-on policy. It's hands-off policy. So whenever there's a removal, it has to be done with weapons. Usually Northerners, they use tomahawks. They use toothbrushes with razors side on them, and they slice. I told you guys that before. Southsiders usually use ice picks or bone crushers. That's what they come to get you with. And that's what is about to happen on this yard. So I go to yard. I'm over there on so the yard, everybody has their own area on a level 4. On every prison yard, everyone has their own area. Now the NCs, we had a bench. Was it a table? I think it was a bench. Oh no, we had a table. We had a table next to the black basketball court, and next to us was the East Coast, and next to them was the Compton and Watts table. So we're on this side of the yard in front of one building, and the Southsiders had the other side of the yard, and the Bloods was over there on that side of the yard with them. So it wasn't divided in blacks on this side. What it was divided in different areas. So on my side of the yard, we're sitting at our table and they're taking laps. Southside, and they all got their boots on. That was another thing. Marcelli came in he went to the yard, the early yard after he came home from work. He came in at 11. He's like, dog, all the Mexicans got their boots on. What you mean they all got their boots on? He said, all the Mexicans got their boots on. That means Southsiders and Paisas had their boots on. And by him telling me that, excuse me, I got to check this. By him telling me that, that told me something was going down. Something was going to happen. And that something was most likely the incident I was involved in due to Marcelli letting this dude charge the phone. So sure enough, when I get to the yard, I think it was 12:30 unlocked, 12 o'clock unlocked, around lunchtime. I'm sitting at the table and I'm talking to someone from Compton, from Front Hood. His name was Big L. Anyone that been in California prison system, it's been around a while. You guys know who Big L is. I'm over there at the Compton and Watts table talking to Big L. I see the youngster, the one that got my charger took, taking laps with 2 dudes, one on the left, one on the right, 3 dudes in back of them following them, and one posted up right there by their little horseshoe, no, not horseshoe pit. What was that called? So they had a handball court, and next to the handball court was like what is that called? What's that game people play with the ping pong paddles? With it was another game, but they was posted up right there, and so they got to walk by these guys, and the water faucet was right there by the handball court, right? So we're posting up, and I'm looking. Now I didn't tell anybody in my car. No, I take that back. I did tell T Pook and I told Mackin about what happened because they're my little homies. They're from my neighborhood. And of course, they went and told Baby Little Attitude and whoever else was on the yard with us. All the NCs was probably informed. But the Compton and Watts and all the rest of the Crips, I didn't get to tell. This is the first day I come out since this incident. So we're sitting there and I'm watching the youngster walk. And what do you know? The dude on his right pulled out a thing. And now, mind you, when they send somebody, they usually send their hitters that know what they're doing. But even if these dudes knew what they were doing, that youngster, the youngster that got my cord taken, I didn't know that he was a boxer. That dude right there, he got what he had coming. But that dude right there, they had. So let me back up. While they're walking, the dude on the right goes to swing the thing at him, and the thing's probably like 6 inches. It wasn't that big. Swung it at his face, and dude must have been waiting because he blocked it. And when he blocked it, the damn thing came out of the south side of his hand. This one takes off on him. Now he's fighting this one without the knife. This one with the knife is trying to hit him in the back of the head. But dude is turning so fast, getting with these dudes programming. Only one of them had a knife, and it's on the ground. The three dudes in back, one of them ran up and got the knife, and he got him pretty good. But he fought all. There was when it was over with, it was 5 dudes involved. It was the youngster and 4 dudes. He got his though, and he went to the hole, and he didn't have nothing to be ashamed of except he made a mistake. Um, that ain't the end of the story though. They removed him off the yard, right? So now that issue's taken care of. Dude goes to the back. All the ones that were involved, they lay the yard down. Now they got everyone down because a weapon was involved. They make everyone get out, and then they take you in until they find out that it was Southsider on Southsider. They take you in by your groups or by your buildings. Building one, a lower tier A side going first, and lower tier, I mean upper tier A side, lower tier B side, and et cetera, et cetera. So as they're doing this, I'm watching them because I don't know if they want to, press the issue on us now because we still ain't showed them the 115. So they take us all in, and they tell us we're on lockdown. Lockdown was only 2 or 3 days, but as we're on lockdown, I'm getting kite after kite from Southsiders for the other Crips, Bloods, everyone. They're sending kites under the door. Now, you think that the police don't see these damn workers that are out cleaning the tiers and people going to showers because they still shower us, coming to my cell, dropping off all these kites. The police in the tower watch everything. So now I'm really paranoid. So I tell little man, soon as the yard opens back up, get the number 2 down here. Get them down here so we can show them that 115. So that's what I tell them. So we're down there. We're marinating. We're discussing the whole incident, and I'm trying to find a way to wiggle up out of this and still get my damn new charger because they got ways to get stuff in, and their people got chargers somewhere. So we're discussing this. 2 or 3 days go by and they open yard back up, resume normal program. This is the only time I eat any kind of food from the kitchen is when we're on lockdown because they sell feed us. So they just bringing us, and I take the vegetables out and make a stir fry with the vegetables. I just wanted to throw that in there and let you guys know I did eat a little bit of vegetables and fruit when I was in there when we was on lockdown. Anyways, so what happens is they let us off lockdown immediately. Now they don't open yard up. What they do is they let us have day room first. They open up day room, and all the Southsiders come out. That's not a good sign when all the Southsiders come out. However, because we were on lockdown, everyone wants to get in the shower. So I figured that. But I watched the body language. I watched the demeanors, and they didn't all have their boots on this time. So I figured, they're a little bit more lax. They're gonna probably send the number two over there. Now the number one South Side on the yard, he wasn't in my building. He was in building 3. I knew who he was from another prison. I never talked to him, but I knew who he was. And why the youngsters getting whacked, removed off the yard. I seen the number one on the yard talking to the number two, and that just doesn't happen. You don't ever see the number one and number two. And what I mean by that, the number one is the head, the shot caller. I don't like to use that term, but the number one has the yard. He has the keys, and usually he tries to be as discreet as possible, and don't try to conversate with the number two or no one else like out in the open like that. But he was out there talking to the number two, so I figured whatever the discussion that we was about to have with this number two was going to get right back to the number one, and he was going to make a final decision on whatever, if he was going to replace the charger, if whatever the decision they made, it was going to be made that day, because I seen him discussing something on the yard when the youngster got whacked. Sure enough, when you get off lockdown, mostly everyone comes out their cell, and of course I'm coming out because I'm not going to be in my cell talking through someone through a door, and there's a problem like this lingering in the air. You gotta let me tell you something about prison. California prison anyway, level 4 yards. You try to eliminate problems and nip them in the bud as soon as possible, because if they linger, rumors start. And when rumors start, people start manipulating shit, and they'll either try to squash it, or you'll get the people in the background trying to manipulate shit. So you try to nip anything in the bud when there's animosity or any kind of incident like this happens on the yard. You try to nip it in the bud, because of course you're gonna have. Let me give you guys a scenario. So say the Southsiders owed the blacks a couple $1,000s for some drugs, and they people don't know it, but one individual done ran a bill up, right? So if the Southsider didn't have the money or didn't want to pay the dude for the drugs and say he was a Crip, the Southsider that owes the money, he might be back there politicking for his people to take off on the blacks, because that's his way out of paying the debt. And that's what happens. There's a lot of manipulation. There's a lot of games being played in prison. And so I knew I had to come out the cell, me and my cellie. We had to talk to the number two. He had to show him his write-up. I wasn't showing him my write-up. I didn't want him to have my information. I'm just careful like that. I'm very strategic when I'm in prison. I'm thinking 10 steps ahead of everything. I always been like that when I'm in prison. Out on the street too. So anyway, we come out the cell. I see 3 of them, number two, and his 2 little henchmen on his side walking over to our side of the day room. So I immediately get little man and another cat that was close to me, another brother. He wasn't a Crip, but he come with me, so we go holler. So we go over there, and I meet the number two. I tell little man to kick back. So me and the number two's talking. He's like, "Man, dog, much respect." He shook my hand. They're very respectful. They're very professional. They don't really cuss. If you're talking to a righteous one that really knows what he's doing, they're very respectful. And that goes for Northerners and so forth. And he was very respectful. He's like, "Man, I really want to see that 115. Did you get it yet?" I'm like, "Yeah, my cellie got it." He's like, "Oh, can I check it out?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you mind if I take it to my side of the day room and check it out with my folks?" And I look back at little man. Little man's like, he heard him. He heard him ask. He's like that. And I'm like, "Look, I'll show it to you, bro, but I don't feel comfortable about you guys taking it over there and coming back." He's like, "No, I respect that." He said, Can my partner come and look at it?" So I called little man over there, and they sat there, they looked at it. And as soon as they got to the third page and opened it, bam, a picture of their phone and my charger. He knew it wasn't his charger because he didn't have one. So now he confirmed that his cell phone got taken out of my cell phone. And I'm watching his expressions. I'm watching his body language, because in his eyes, Remember what his cellie told him? That we asked him, can we use his phone? I never confirmed or denied that to this man. But now that his partner is gone and they whack him, he ain't coming back. He can't, there's no more communication with him for these guys. So now the play was this. Little man is going to tell him the whole spiel. We already discussed this. I told little man, look, man, once we let him see the 115, you're going to give him the whole spiel on what really happened. They could decide what they want to do from there. If we feel any animosity, we're taking off first. And that's what you have to do on level 4 yards. You have to take off first. If he thought that um, the reason why his phone got took was because of us asking to borrow it, he might feel some type of way. Now we're going to give him the real story. And if he believes it, he believes it. But if he doesn't, and he believes it's Selly that he just whacked, he might have some kind of animosity and want to stir up some shit. So I wasn't going to tell him this. I had little man tell him, look, the dude wanted us to charge his phone and tell him the whole story, what I've been telling you guys, right? And that's what little man did. So he did that, and you guys have to come back for part 4, because part 4, I think I'm going to do one more part to this to end it, but then I think I'm doing a 10 series penitentiary games. I got so many manipulative shit about penitentiary games I want to share with you guys, because it's amazing at some of the things people do in prison. The next one's a banger. It's about how I got I don't want to say my first phone, how I worked somebody up out of a phone. And it's crazy. It's a crazy story. But I want to finish this story in episode 4. So stay tuned for Prison Yard TV Penitentiary Games episode 4, True Stories. If you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoy these stories, cash out me $1. My cash app's at the bottom of the screen. It's $ Josiah, capital J, Josiah with the number 1, SON. Josiah One Son. Cash out me $1. Let me know you guys like these stories. It's $1, man. If you like these stories, support this channel. Send $1. Cash out me $1. It ain't taken away from you. It's nothing. It's $1. So do that. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. Share these videos and leave a comment. And I will be checking y'all out later on tonight or tomorrow with episode 4. I want to see these comments. I got to get a little bit closer to see these comments. I see these nuts. What's up, these nuts? Let me see something. James, just tapping in. What's up, James? You see, I had to come to the studio. I got to do these true stories at the studio, man, because it's more authentic. In my backyard, you hear bells ringing. You guys could hear me more clear on these microphones. And I wanted to come to the studio, and I want to show you guys something. So this side of this room, the studio, this is me and Tony's podcast, 12 Rounds with Drilling. On that side where the computer's at, that's my old, that's going to be that's going to be Prison Yard TV side. So we're just going to flip the cameras around and use that wall for Prison Yard TV after we get it painted. This y'all for 12. So we're going to basically use in the same studio, the same area, but 2 different podcasts going on, 2 different channels. So stay tuned and check this out. This Saturday, I believe it's Saturday, we're going to be in the ring with Tony Lopez. I believe he's going to be refereeing some fights, and I'm going to be filming him, and we'll be doing a commercial for Golden One Automotive on Franklin Boulevard. That's our sponsor right now. He's sponsoring our channels, and we'll be doing a commercial with Golden One Automotive on Franklin Boulevard as we film the fight, because the fight's at center ring on Franklin Boulevard. The fights are going to be there. I think they're amateur fights, and I believe Tony's going to be refereeing. So stay tuned for Saturday. But I'm going to be giving you these I'm going to be giving you these penitentiary games all week. Every day I'm giving you at least 1 or 2 episodes. I'm trying to stay consistent. You guys keep saying stay consistent, dog. I'm trying to give you guys 2 videos a day with my gem of the day. If you guys haven't seen my shorts, check out my gem of the day. They're very on point, and they might help somebody. Stay blessed. Tell the people you love them. Let me look at these comments. I got to come a little closer to the screen. Yeah, James. I believe it's this Saturday. I'll let you guys know later on this evening. I'll make it short and tell you what time this Saturday, but it is going to be at Center Ring on Franklin Boulevard. We'll be filming our podcast, well, Tony's podcast there. I'll have my camera crew out there. We're also going to do a commercial at a friend of mine's transmission shop and automotive shop. It's called Golden One Automotive. And if you guys need body work or anything done to a car, it's a all in one place where you could get your mechanical work done. You could get your body work done. If you need a transmission or transmission work, he got another shop down the street from there, Allstate Transmission. Shout out to Tony with Allstate Transmission and Golden One Automotive on Franklin Boulevard. We'll check y'all out later on tonight or tomorrow. Look out for episode 4. Send me $1. I'm telling you, cash out me $1 if you like these stories. Show me you support me. Oh, damn, I didn't bring the shirt. I got 5 Prison Yard TV shirts left with my old logo. 2 extra large, 1 double X large, and 1 large. The rest got to go for the raffle. If you guys want a shirt, cash out me $25.99 plus $9.99 shipping and handling. If you guys live in the Sacramento area, I will bring it to you. $25.99 for the old logo Prison Yard TV shirt. I won't be having no more of these old logos. You'll be seeing my new logo on my new merch coming up, hats and t-shirts. Check all out later on. Stay blessed. Tell the people you love them.